So we now know the final four for the Heineken Champions Cup for 2022. And what a set of quarterfinals we were treated to. Obviously, the game of the round was Munster versus Toulouse. What an ending that was. We haven't had a shootout since Cardiff and Toulouse all the way back in the final. And if anyone remembers that, Toulouse actually came off best in that one as well. But obviously, we'll do a little dive into each game and see how each of them went, and look at my views on how I think each team will fare in the semi-finals and who might make it to the final. So if you're new here, obviously the fantasy rugby has stopped for the moment, but it will be back in the autumn. Hopefully there's a summer series as well. So if you just enjoy rugby content, then please subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and turn notifications on to not miss a video. So let's get in and see how the quarterfinals went. So obviously the first game of the weekend was debatably the best one. Munster versus Toulouse at Munster. And it actually started off way before the game, with Ed Sheeran's concert actually being at Thomond Park. And if anyone saw, Ed Sheeran actually wore a Munster shirt whilst he was performing to just say sorry to Munster. So they had to play at the Aviva, which wasn't their home ground, but still they had loads and loads of home support with them. Obviously, let's just get straight in to the juicy bit, the penalty shootout. So it actually ended 24-all at full time, and couldn't actually believe it. So they had 3 penalty takers at the end. It was Untermack, Dupont and Ramos. And then for Munster, it was Healy, Murray and Carberry. So on paper, you'd say they were pretty evenly matched. I guess Healy is a bit inexperienced, but nonetheless, pretty well matched. Unfortunately, as we all know now, Munster did lose, but can we just talk about Toulouse? They have ice in their veins. They're absolutely insane. Dupont is just obviously the world's best player, but is there anything that he cannot do? So massive congrats to Toulouse. That was a huge win over Munster, away from home as well. And obviously they've got Leinster up next, another Irish team. So let's see how they fare. Obviously Leinster are slightly better than Munster on paper, you'd say. So we just have to see who will win that. I guess my money would probably be on Leinster, as they struggle a little bit against Munster. But with Toulouse being reigning champs, you just never know. So in the second game of the weekend, last year's finalists as well, La Rochelle also made it through against Montpellier. The result in the end was 31-19 to La Rochelle. They were at home, so they did have that advantage. Obviously, Montpellier gave it all they got. They've obviously got Zach Mercer from Bath last year with them at the moment, and he scored again. So he's been absolutely outstanding this season. But unfortunately, he couldn't carry them to a victory. La Rochelle are just pretty insane at the moment. Of course, they've got Ronan O'Gara in their coaching team. But they've got players like Kerr Barlow, Raymond Rule, Bottier in the centre as well. And of course, French internationals like Antonio and Aldreet, who are just absolutely insane. So you would bet on them to get to the final. I think they have Racing away, actually. So that's obviously going to be a hard game with Finn Russell, Teddy Thomas. But let's see if they can get to the final once again for the second successive year. If it was me putting money on them, I would probably say Racing would beat La Rochelle, just with all their experience they have in this competition and also being at home. But you never know in these kind of games, and anyone can win on the day. Next up was Leicester versus Leinster. And of course, Leicester actually had the home advantage. They've by far been the best team in the English Premiership so far this season. So coming up against Leinster, who are of course the best team in the URC, it was a pretty good matchup really. The final score was actually 14-23 to Leinster, as we all know now. So I guess pretty disappointing from Leicester, being English. I guess you have some affinity to the English teams in Europe, and obviously there's none left now for the semi-finals, which is disappointing. But of course Leinster just managed the game so well. They've been in this position so many times before with Sexton and players of the like. So they just knew how to do the job, and they didn't need a massive score like Racing got against Sale up next, but they did the job, and that's all they needed to do really. And now of course they're into the semi-final. They've got Toulouse next, and as I said previously, I would probably put money on them if I was a betting person to go through and beat Toulouse. Of course Toulouse are the reigning champs, but I just think Leinster just have that core stability in them, and their players play together obviously week in week out, but they've also got a core Irish squad as well, with like Sexton, Lowe, Henshaw, Ringrose, Keenan. That's basically the whole back line, and obviously the whole Irish back line as well. And of course all the forwards as well. You've got Porter, Kelleher, Furlong, James Ryan, Doris, Van der Fleer and Conan all play for Ireland as well, and that's just in their starting team. So it's absolutely crazy the unity they've got. They literally play with each other every week. So that's why I would definitely back them against Toulouse. But of course, it's going to be such a great game this Saturday. Be sure to watch it and stay tuned in. So the final game of the quarterfinals and of the weekend was Racing versus Sale. And of course, I just mentioned that all the English teams are now out, so Racing won by 41 points to 22. And if I'm being honest, it was an absolute masterclass by Finn Russell. His kicking was absolutely superb, and Teddy Thomas was definitely a beneficiary of that. I think there was one try where Finn Russell did a little grubber or over the top kick to Teddy Thomas, and his feet just managed to stay in by a tiny blade of grass. So they've got so much skill in that Racing backline that it's going to be frightening for any team that they come up against. And also another clip that I saw was where Finn Russell was in the backfield. A ball came to him just along the floor, and he just decided to volley it and then ran after it, got the good bounce and managed to secure it, and then of course Racing scored. So Finn Russell is just an absolute magician, and up against La Rochelle in the next round in the semi-final, so they'll definitely be wanting to keep him quiet. Will Ronan O'Gara know any tips and tricks to keep a 10 quiet? He probably will, and they'll definitely need to do that if they're going to beat Racing next weekend, or this weekend actually. So it's unfortunate for Sale to drop out, but I think the deserved winners definitely got through. I don't think Sale are quite there yet in terms of their cohesion, like a Racing or Leinster have. But fair play to Racing, and the semi-finals definitely look juicy for this weekend. So of course this weekend we have the semi-finals, and Saturday is the biggest game of them all so far. It's Leinster versus Toulouse. Now of course I've said Leinster in my opinion will probably win, but you just never know in these games. Semi-finals, anything can happen. So that's on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday we've got Racing versus La Rochelle, an all-French affair. So please put down in the comments who you think will get to the final, or which players will perform best, in fact, as Finn Russell did this weekend. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, then please go and do so. Thanks for watching all my videos, and turn notifications on to not miss out. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.